people are quite scared when they come in. The chances are only 5%, 3 to 5%. And then most of those are called papillary thyroid carcinoma. 85% of thyroid cancer is called papillary, very slow growing, very indolent. These are the ones that can be in the body for years and cause no problems.
Right.
They do readily spread to the lymph nodes. They'll spread very quickly to the lymph nodes. But even with lymph nodes spread, the prognosis is still quite good. And there's other cancers is once it's in the lymph nodes, it's very difficult to treat. These are not that way. Unless you've got lots and lots of lymph nodes, that shows us how aggressive it is. But if you've got a couple, few lymph nodes in there, it does not change the prognosis. You cannot get, cancer staged 1 through 4. You can't even get above a stage 2 below 45 years old. So
Wow.
you can't even get above stage 2. If it's metastatic to the lung, you're a stage 2.
Wow.
It's like it's unfathomable. It's very, very low. Now, I have seen papillary cancer be very dangerous. I've seen it be terminal. That's not the norm. They can de-differentiate, meaning the cells can be normal papillary thyroid cancer and then change into something more dangerous. Those are the things that we talk about. And I tell people, even when I do a biopsy and I say, unfortunately, this shows that you have a papillary thyroid carcinoma, the first words out of my mouth are, these are very slow growing, very indolent, and we have an excellent prognosis of making this go away. We have between 90 and 95% cure rate on that.
Right.
The second most common type of thyroid cancer is called follicular thyroid carcinoma. These are cancers that are from the thyroid cells, so follicular and papillary are from the thyroid cells themselves. And that's probably most of the rest of the 15% are follicular. They're a little bit more aggressive. Cure rates are 85 to 90% for the lower grades. And you can go from these two, the curable, to an anaplastic, which is very, they're very infrequent. I wouldn't say rare, but infrequent. And they are probably one of the most malignant cancers and are very dangerous, very fast. And people will say, well, how do you know it's not anaplastic? Because we're sitting here having a conversation. And these are things that will develop in weeks, not years to months. It is very fast growing. So it's pretty apparent fairly early on if it's an anaplastic.
I had not ever heard that before about how rapidly anaplastic would progress. So that's very different from papillary, which, as we were talking about off camera before we even started, that papillary cancers can even be found on autopsies of people who've died from other causes and had no idea they even had them because they're so incredibly slow growing.
Yep. And then once someone's treated, there are unfortunate cases that people will have distant metastases. So we talk about metastases. There are metastases to the lymph nodes, and there's distant metastases, and those are all measured in the staging system. And distant metastases, say you have a lump in your lung that's found to be papillary cancer, people can live decades with that. So it can be, again, slow growing and not cause a problem for a long time. So there's a huge spectrum of growth patterns, but papillary are one that people can go a long time.
This is a topic, this topic we've been on for the last few minutes is something I try to touch on in almost every episode of this podcast, because I know there's people coming back, but there's also lots of new people coming who don't know this information. And my goal here is to dispel a lot of that fear and anxiety that comes with that initial discovery of the thyroid nodule. So I'm so glad we covered all of this.